Boards. Board games, board games is what we're talking about. Board games, board games, I'm not gonna shout. Having said all that, this is not really a board game, but then again, it is a sort of RPG, which Sarah suggested playing with me. It carries on over 3 days, I guess. I don't really know much, but you'll learn the rest with me. Story games. Story games is what we're playing today. Story games. And it's called This Space Beyond. We're playing it in our own way. Hello, and good morning, good afternoon, good night, good whatever it is, wherever you are. And hello. Thank you for joining me, Sarah. It has been a hot minute, to use the American phrase.
It has. It has been a hot minute. You have had a lot going on. I have had a lot going on. But here we are at last.
So I've got this little banner down, but I'm not sure if the US time is right. But this is what I'm planning. Generally, although I say every Tuesday at the bottom, and we just talked about how in 2 weeks' time we're probably going to be skipping because I am changing address. But yeah, people can, of course, look at stuffwithbez.com/streams to find out when I'm streaming. I started doing Tuesday extra streams just because I wanted to have a chance to chat to US folk. And there's lovely people, yourself included, Sarah, that on the morning shows I just wouldn't get a chance to talk to. And this is a chance to kind of set aside time. Like last week when I started the Slay the Spire and I stopped playing it after an hour and a half. Honestly, I thought it was going to be a much shorter game. I thought it was one of those things where you play for half an hour and then you die, and then you come back another day and you play for half an hour and then you die. But like after an hour and a half, I was still going strong. So then I saved the game, and I'll come back to it maybe at some points in the future. But it's kind of having that opportunity for myself to just be like, yeah, this is time to play and play something. It's not about necessarily playing it for research. It's just, although there's kind of always a bit of that, isn't there? If you are a game designer, you're always looking for, what have they done well? What have they done not so well? What's going on here? How can I use these things?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah, for those who don't know what Playful Shenanigans is all about, that's what it's all about. And can you talk about what your game is all about, Space Beyond? Can you give a quick overview?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a little card-based RPG. I first created it for a competition, and it was so popular with my playtesters that I'm going to kind of expand it into a full game, and I'm going to actually try to market it. I was shooting for fall, but you know, with all of the like shipping problems and everything, I've kind of like put everything on hold. So we're going to shoot for spring of 2022. And what you do is you create a character that's going to be out on a spaceship. I can't even remember if we named our spaceship, but hopefully you have that information.
Oh, it's called the Iris.
The Iris, that's right. That's right. Yeah. And your characters can be anything, right? Like one of you can play the ship if you want to. You can play a robot or an android, a human, a brain in a jar, whatever floats your boat. You can be a drone, you can be a shuttle.
Yeah, there is literally, the choices are, I am human, android robot, brain in the box AI, or ship, drone, shuttle. And last time we decided that I was actually coming to it a wee bit nervous. I wasn't sure if I would have enough creativity, because sometimes that's the issue of these kinds of things. Like, where do you go? Do I know what's kind of meant to be played? And it's very unusual that you get a story game or an RPG that's for 2 players. Normally, these kinds of things are meant to be for like 4, 6, like chunky numbers. But here we decided, okay, I am Lady Gaga. I am Lady Gaga, I'm a jar spider skull. I am out here because we are going to a concert. My personal mission is to entertain. The best personality trait, singing and songwriting. Greatest weakness, relating to people, because now not only am I like a multi-billionaire at this point, but, you know, my body has decomposed and I am just a sort of jar spider. So
yeah. You're like literally Lady Gaga's brain that has been preserved in some sort of spider-like thing, which I love because this is like thousands of years in the future and Lady Gaga still exists. I am Ra-ah. I am Lady Gaga's android body. I have been programmed to perform all of her songs and dances.
So you pronounce that name Ra-aha.
Ra-ah.
Ra-ah. Okay.
Which, if you're a Lady Gaga fan, hopefully you'll find funny. I feel like I always, like when somebody says my name, I feel like I always correct them by going, Ra. No, I won't do that. My mission, so I'm out here, right? Hello. How you
Spider
doing,
Gaga and Robo Gaga.
Yes, exactly. I'm out here in space with you because, you know, like I'm sort of your spider brain in a jar.
So basically what happens is the spider head jumps onto this body, and so but the body does all the dancing, while the spider head does all the kinds of singing.
Yeah,
because it still has Lady Gaga's lips that have been preserved somehow.
Oh, nice. Yes, that's right. I forgot. You've got like some of her skin. Yes, we got.
I had a drawing that I've lost.
Vibes from that.
Maybe I should do another drawing.
But my personal mission is I think I'm super talented. And so while we're out here doing this concert, I'm looking for an agent because I want to become an entertainer in my own right. Aside, the narrator says, and yet she has no talent of her own. So it may be a little tough. My best personality trait is that I'm curious. Like I'm a learning AI. I have a learning AI in my brain. Like even though I can be programmed, I can still learn. And my worst personality trait is I'm very vain. I feel like I have been sculpted to look like my body, like Lady Gaga at her absolute physical best. Plus, I think I'm the one who's talented, even though I'm not. Yeah, that's me.
And this is my new hastily drawn rendition of what I look like.
So you've got like the whole like lower part and part of the neck. Is that it?
And then that's meant to be the bones up top. Like yeah, just bone.
It's like a mask. It's like it's hooked over the cartilage over here.
They paid special attention to the bits that matter the most.
Okay, good.
But, yeah, this isn't Futurama with the whole head preserved perfectly. This isn't.
No. It's a little gruesome, which is great. I love it.
So we had little stats, and what we decided, I can't remember how it works, is I put 2 in 2 of them, -1 in one, and -2 in the other. That's what I had to decide. And so my worst thing is I am definitely not a nuclear scientist.
Same.
My second worst thing is I'm definitely not a mechanic.
Yeah.
But I am very good at leadership and also war if it came down to it, but generally leadership. And I'm also very good at communicating and translating.
Yep, great. Yes, we are both very communicative creatures. I also am terrible as a nuclear scientist and almost as bad as a mechanic. Like we have that in common. But because I'm sort of your like jars like keeper, right? Like I take care of you when we're off stage. I'm good at resource management. So like I can go and barter. I can go and barter. I can find ways to, like, if we have to mine something, I can figure that out. I've got that resources thing down. And then because have kind of an AI brain. I'm also good at communicating with robotics and AI. So I have 2 points for resources, 1 for robotics and AI, and 1 in, I'm kind of a general technologist. So I have a little of the technology side of things, but not very much. But that still is going to give me a skill rating of 2 because I'm pretty emotional and communicating. And I think you did a skill rating of 2 or 2 as well, didn't you? Yeah, we're gonna have we're really gonna have trouble when it comes to technological stuff. Because I guarantee you there will be times when we don't have a choice and we have to.
So just to clarify and finish overviewing, because like parts of this is all new to me. I've not played this game before. I've not even looked through to how to play. I just got Sarah to do all the work of teaching it as we go. And so Sarah, are we going to be sort of flipping? There's a whole bunch of cards that you showed me on the tabletop simulator that you've got here. And if you could maybe show one of them very quickly.
You bet. So each of these little piles here, and there's a card on top of each pile that has some information in it, which I'll get to as we get there. But each of these piles has a certain number of cards. And I know it's a little harder to see, but when I hover over this, if you look really close, you can see the number 3. So underneath this top card are 2 more cards. And so as we play, we're going to play through 3 days in space. And under this top card for day 1, there are 2 cards. We'll play the fronts and the backs. We'll take turns kind of moving the story forward.
And so we come up with the good things that happen to us and the bad things.
Yes.
And the icons tell us whether it's good or bad?
The icons give us choices of what we're going to do while we play. So I'll take a card that has been discarded from play because there's a limited number of cards that are actually used in each game and give you a little bit of a tutorial. So every card has this beautiful space artwork. Don't worry about how beautiful the artwork is. I love this artwork that I worked with an artist and we're going to create some more. Because we can be as silly as we want to be, but we'll look at this artwork and we'll go, oh, we're on this planet that has, maybe these are little robots over here, and we can see this like constructed moon in the background, and so we can begin to tell a little story about what's happening. Up at the top left, there are some.
So the image is meant to inspire us.
Yes, and so you can start to tell a little story. You can say, oh, we're headed, let's just say that we're in our actual game, but this is not a card we're actually going to use. This is just for an example. Oh, we're headed to that constructed moon to give our concert, when all of a sudden we see up in the sky that there are airships taking off, spaceships taking off. They're like leaving the planet, so they're flying away from that moon. Like that kind of tells me something might be wrong. Well, now we have 2 choices for the type of event that we can encounter here. So the top one, and those are the little yellow symbols at the top. The first one is a technology problem, and the second one is a robotics or AI problem. Let me very briefly.
And so every card has to be some sort of problem that we might overcome, or we might.
Some sort of event. We can approach it as a problem. We can approach it as a problem to solve because that's fun storytelling. Or we may come into the card from a card earlier, already limping along with a problem, and we're here to ask for help. Like we may have gotten here, we may have crash landed on the planet instead of making it to that moon where we were going to actually do our show. And we may be like, oh, we need help. Well, robotics is something that I have some skill at. So if this was a card I was the storyteller on, I could be like, oh, look at these little robots down here. Let's go ask for their help. Like that, and that could be the event that we're now going to engage with. Now, here's the trick. In trying to make this as simple as possible, especially for people who don't play lots of RPGs, Once you've chosen an event, that icon is the one that you are going to roll using your positive, negative, or 0 score from your page. So you can't go, oh, I'm good at communicating, so I'm going to try to communicate with the robots and use your communication score. No, if I have chosen a robotics event, everybody is dealing with robotics on their level of robotics that they're able to work at, if that makes sense.
And if there's no number, then it's just a 0.
Right, right. And then we'll roll some dice. So you and I get to start with a D8. Oops, it helps if I stay in the right place. You and I get to start with a D8. I guess I have to zoom in. Oh, come on.
I will roll a D8 digitally.
So they're here on the table. In fact, I forgot to get you into Tabletop Simulator.
Oh, it's okay. I can roll on
okay, or I can always just
Google
roll them.
potentially.
Yeah, I could just roll them here so that
I'll
people
click
can
my
see
own
them on
button.
the table. Okay.
Boom.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
Have you seen that? In Google, you just type in roll D8 and it comes up with that.
No, I did not. I didn't know you could do that. So I can then just like put it on the 4 for you, so we can show it on the table. And then whatever day we're on, that day also gets to roll a die. So if you've rolled a 4, then the day is going to roll on day 1 a D6. On day 2, they get to roll a D8. And on day 3, the day gets to roll a D10. And by the day, I mean whoever is out there that we are trying to communicate with or work with or do battle with, they also
get so it's like the environment or the difficulty of doing what we're trying to do, and then we're trying to beat the day essentially.
Yes.
And so would we both roll? So in this example for robotics, are you rolling and I roll and the day rolls?
Well, here's what happens. Before we roll anything at all, the person who's playing gets to roll a D4, which is a turn number. So we're going to have 2 turns because I just rolled this D4. We're going to have 2 turns to try to resolve this problem. So I can go, okay, I'm good at robotics, so I'm going to give this a shot. I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to take the first turn, and then I'll roll the D8, or in this case, let's say I go, oh, why don't you go first and try something, whatever you think you can do. You roll the D8, we roll the die for the day, and then you go, oh, I'm going to be successful. How much success am I going to have? Well, now we roll the D. It's not a D, it's a D10, but it's a percentage. So I rolled a 7. So whatever you do, you're going to get 70% of this job done. You're going to be successful enough that we're going to get almost all the way to our goal. And so then you just get to tell the story of what you do and how it works. Now, let's say that the opposite was true. Let's say that you rolled a D4, and let's say that the day rolled a 5. Well, then I'm going to try to come in and help you. We'll do that as we play. I'll show you how that works.
Wait, why do we roll a D4?
So the D4 tells us how many turns we have to get to succeed at what we're doing on any particular card. And we have to take turns. So if you're successful and we are successful, I can choose to go, great, 70%, we got it, we're done, let's move on. If we have a higher success rate, I can count it as a success on my character sheet. If we have a lower rate, often we have to count it as a failure. And those things are going to impact later in the game how large a die we're going to be able to roll as the events get harder and harder over time. Now, a lot of this comes clear in play. So
yeah, that's often the way.
Yeah,
and so let's take a quick step back, and in case anyone who doesn't know either of us, I realize that we never actually said who we are. So I am Bez, I love games, and yeah, met Sarah on the internet because that's how things are these days.
It is.
Yeah, I'm best known for yogi, and if you're here, then you probably already know me. And yeah, like my recent achievement is kind of I'm getting a game about wee whimsical creatures and trying to identify them after someone makes noises, ships out, which is good stuff. Who are you, Sarah, and what's your recent achievement that you would like to tell us about?
Well, I'm Sarah from Big Girl Games. I make all kinds of games. I try to always have a little bit of an environmental component if I can. I'm not sure I've achieved that yet with this one, but we're going to figure it out. And my big news is since I finished my PhD in water policy in 2019, I've been looking for a job, and I finally got a job. So starting November 15th, I'm going to be the executive director of the Gila Watershed Partnership, which does river and habitat restoration.
So what does that mean? Does that mean that you're basically making sure that the parks are good for birds? And
Actually,
fish?
yeah. No, actually what it is there are very few free flowing rivers left in the United States. And by that, I mean rivers that don't have any kind of dam or like irrigation coming off of them. The Gila River is one of those, maybe 3 in the entire US. And so in order to keep that river healthy and free flowing, we go in and take out invasive plants, plant native plants, encourage animal habitat to grow back up in the place where these invasive plants have taken over. And yes, and try to make sure that the whole watershed is healthy so that there's always water in this river.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, now more than ever, it's really important that we as humans are really custodians of the planet. And but fingers crossed that we manage to clean up our act, not only just for one river, but fingers crossed over the next 20 few decades, like globally.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing that I love about an organization like this is they are very focused on one area, but every area has organizations like this. And so getting involved in watershed projects, which a lot of them have like individual memberships, people can give money, people can volunteer. It's something people all over the world really can do in a lot of places. So all of those contribute, right? My little individual thing might not be the biggest thing that contributes to eliminating climate change, but everybody contributing to little things like this is what. Plus, reining in some.
I mean, every little helps. What's important is that we don't become complacent after doing a little bit. Like we don't become, I'm putting things into the recycling bin, therefore it's all fine. What we really need to do is not just take on things as individuals and, think about insulation and flying glass and stuff, but also we hit corporations and big businesses and say, okay, you need to clean up your act and we need to lobby for big governmental changes.
Yeah,
mandates.
Absolutely.
Having said that, let's hope that in the year, what year is this even? Let's call it 3079.
Great.
Are you fine with that?
I absolutely am.
Okay, I'm writing down the year. It's 3079. And so in the year 3079, moving ahead, hopefully we have all this stuff. Hopefully Earth is still there, even though we've gone off the planet as well. But Earth is still there, and it's managed to be okay. But let's get on and play the game. How do we start?
Great. Well, go ahead and put up the game, and I will draw the very first card. So I think that
Could you zoom in wee bit
to the whole table.
Yeah.
There we go. And I'll move around a little from there.
Thank you.
But let's start with the first card. I think we decided before that I'll go ahead and give the examples of how to play by just starting play with the first card. Okay, great. Well, here we are, leaving our current planet in our spaceship, the Iris. And we're headed out to our next concert. I feel very good about the concert we just did. I feel like people really got to see my talent, like they really could see me dancing out there. It was great. I'm not sure how much of this I communicate to you, dear Gaga, because I really think that I'm the real entertainer here. But I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy. We're flying along. And things are going great. And as we sail through space, a little error light comes on in your spider housing.
In the jar.
Yeah. In the jar, there are some little lights that tell us when you're like running low on particular nutrients. And I'm wondering what might be going wrong. Like, what do you think could possibly be the problem? Like, what is missing? Something that has to do with something inside the jar. Are you hungry?
I need more oxygen. I've just been singing so much.
Oh.
You need to make sure that the air, there's enough air going on through the water.
All right. So I think that this is something I feel like when we're in the ship, you should be plugged in. And so something is wrong with our resource transfer here, right? Like I feel like this is a resource problem. So I'm going to step out of character for 1 second and say, look at the two little like yield signs.
Perfect for you. So one is horses, commerce, and the other is robotics and
AI. Couldn't have picked a better one. I didn't do it on purpose. It just happened to be the card that was at the bottom of the pile. So I feel like we need to try to fix this resource problem. So the very first thing that I am going to do then is, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to roll the D4. And we have 3 turns to try to find this problem and fix it. I realize it might be slightly technological.
Is that what you rolled on the D4?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me do that. There we go. It takes just a second, although it's hard to see. Oh, yes, it's the number that's at the but when I hover over it, it says 3. So we have 3 turns. So I'm going to try to fix this myself, right? Because I'm good at resources. That's my skill.
So the question now is, who spends these turns? Is it you doing all the turns, or do we share it, or is it me?
We share. But because I'm I'm the storyteller on this first card, I get to say, oh, I'm going to take the first turn, or ooh, you should take the first turn. But then you can't take 2 turns in a row. So
if you we're going to alternate.
Yeah. If you choose yourself, you don't have any choice but to then let me have a turn at something, even if I'm terrible at it. That's just how it goes. And we will have some of those situations probably where everything is like a technological failure, and that's just all we have to deal with. So I will roll the D8, and I rolled an 8, which is awesome because now it's a 10. And I'm going to roll the D6 for the day, even though a 10 is going to be anything that the D6 can do. This is a pretty awesome success here, but this doesn't tell us how much success we have. It just tells us that we are successful. So I want to know now how much of this problem I'm going to be able to solve. So I roll a percentage die, and that gives me a 5. So okay. I'm going to be able on this turn to solve 50% of this problem. So all of that is kind of rules of how the dice are used. So I'm now going to try to get back into character.
So now you narrate how you.
Yes. Yeah. Now I'll tell you. Yes, exactly. So I think the first thing I'm going to do, because I carry you around, or I don't know, I have the remote control that walks your little legs. I don't know. I'm your keeper. I'm your like helper. I'm with you all the time. The very first thing that I'm going to do is check um, the line, right? I feel like we get back into the ship and I hook you into the oxygen line and the nutrient line, and I'm going to make sure that that's really well connected. And as I'm kind of rattling the part of the line that connects directly into the ship, I notice that it is a little loose. There's some oxygen kind of hissing out. And of course, I'm not a mechanic, but I'm sort of a, I'm
General-purpose
good with,
droid.
I'm a general purpose droid. I deal with your resources all the time. So I push that back in there and the hiss stops. And I say, Gaga, is that better? Do you feel better? Are you breathing well? Don't die on me.
Thank you.
I don't know if I
Rah,
do that or not.
rah. I think we'll be able to pull through. I think, yes.
All right. I feel like there's still
starting to feel
good,
better,
good.
but
Yeah, it's
let
not
me
quite there yet, though. I think maybe can you like use your teeth to I don't know. There I feel like there's
so
something inside
now
your jar that needs to happen. Yes. So now you get to take the
I
second
roll a
turn.
d8.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my previous roll, and I am rolling, and it is a 3. That's not very good.
No, it's not very good. Now let's see.
And
You
I
don't
have a 0 because I
Okay.
have none of those stats, so that is just a plain up 3.
All right. So I will, for you, roll the d6 for the day. And oh my goodness, you're so lucky. You
So
beat
2.
it. You beat it. So let's see what
For
percentage.
the by the way, what would happen in a tie?
A tie is considered a success, but you get disadvantage on rolling the percentage die. So you have to roll it twice and take the lower of the two numbers.
Okay.
Yeah. But you're going to have 10% success here in whatever you're able to do, which will bring us up to a total of 60%, unless there's something you think I could help you with. Is there a way I could from out here help you with something inside your jar?
So my spider legs were into motion, and I move around, and like, I don't know what's going on. I jump up and down, trying to lodge my head down, and I'm like, I think I'm not sure. Could you just push it in a wee bit further?
Well, let me see. So I'm now going to try to help you on your roll. And I do that by rolling the d6 again. And in this case, because I'm helping you with a resource problem, I want to roll above my rating. So my skill rating is 2. Your skill rating is also 2. And I rolled a 3. So yes, I have helped you. You get to re-roll the percentage die, and we'll see if me pushing from my side and you pushing from your side actually helps us. Oh my gosh, 80%. That's going to completely solve the problem. How do you think we're doing that?
Wow. This is amazing. It's like the oxygen and all the nutrients I need are not just coming into the tank. They're flowing directly into me. I've never felt so alive in over 1,000 years.
Oh, I'm so excited for you. This is wonderful.
Hello, Chutia. I hope you are generally well. We are playing a storytelling RPG thing where we're both playing different parts. I am Lady Gaga's brain in a jar. Sarah is the android that looks like Lady Gaga. But yes, we've just managed to overcome our first challenge.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, that is a rousing success. So I get to mark one of my 3 success boxes on my character sheet, which means I am moving toward perhaps at some point getting to
D10.
get a D10 on at some point. So, because we've been so successful, even though it only took 2 turns, I'm going to declare it a success. We don't have to play the 3rd turn. And now we draw a card for Lady Gaga. So let me come over here and draw the next card. Oops.
And so now it's my turn to interpret the visuals as I see fit and explain what's going on.
Yes. Okay. Well, oh, it's because I'm pushing the wrong button. There we go. There we go. Here's the 2nd card.
Okay.
So now this is what we see as we, whatever you think is happening. this is what we see out the port windows or through the view screen or whatever.
Or maybe that's our ship on fire for some reason.
It could be. It could be.
I'm going to say that suddenly there's a big sonic wave that emerges, and there's a strain. We are descending down upon the metropolis where we are to perform.
Oh.
But there's these there's this angry organism that manifests itself as a sheer ball of energy floating through the sky, saying, "We must have none of your old-fashioned music. Only music from the 3000s must be performed here."
How dare they?
Calling us old-fashioned. Our music is for all the ages, I say.
Yes, yes. So now you get to choose an event, and
this is perfect. So like it is actually communication and resources, and there's a blank one. What does that mean?
So the blank one, if we are successful before the turns run out. So let's say we roll the turn timer and we get a 4, and we're successful in a couple of turns. Before we choose another card, so it's your card right now, so then it would be my turn next. I can choose, instead of going to the next card, I can choose to stay on this card and do a different event in the same location. So it's just it's a way to, like, if we're like, oh, we have not resolved this, for me to go, great, let's do something else while we're here. Because, like, you're saying this is where we're supposed to perform. Well, maybe we need to stay here and perform, or maybe we have a horrible failure and this monster, I don't know, kicks us out into space. I don't know what's going to happen, right? So, but you can choose from the top 2 now for your turn.
Obviously, I'm going to go with communication, given that I've got a +2 to my communication.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say, please, do you not see that our music for the ages, it fills people with energy, it fills people with good nature, and don't you understand, it makes them want to dance. And all we want is your love. We want your love.
Yes. I think I'm like glued to the porthole, like, oh, it's so pretty. I'm agreeing with you, but I'm also like, wow.
So we are trying to see if this monster will listen to us and let Robo Gaga, Spider Gaga, and Robo Gaga, as Kate said, perform on this planet.
Yes, yes.
So now we roll some dice to see.
Yeah. So I'm going to roll this D4, which is our time turner. Oh my gosh, we have 4 chances to make this happen.
Amazing. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So this time, do you want to go first? You get to choose who goes.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
So I will roll. Oh wait, should I have done my thing first and then rolled? At what point do you do the narration?
you can begin narrating at any point. Like you can tell us what you're trying to do and then roll,
So I've
or you
been
can roll and then
speaking
narrate.
to the creature.
Okay.
I've just been trying to spout off lyrics to Bad Romance to try to encourage it to see that we want it's everything, and we aren't performing for free, but we'll give it everything. We'll give it what it needs.
And you have a +2, correct? On the communication.
So that's 5.
So that gives you a 5. And let's see what the creature rolls here. The creature also rolls a 5. So that's not the worst news. You're going to have a success.
So it's not so impressed. It's listening, and it's you're not really presenting any new arguments.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep talking, it says.
It does. So now we have to roll our percentage die twice and take the lower of the 2. I rolled a 1 and an 8. So you're only going to be 10% successful at getting its attention. What do you think is happening?
I think it's just saying, Lady Gaga, you have presented me with nothing new. And then now it's up to us to speak more, to debate, to convince it that they do need music from the previous millennia.
Okay, all right. I mean, I'm very vain, so of course I'm so certain I'll be able to convince it. I just know. Spider Gaga, give me a chance.
Of course. Speak as you wish. Speak from your android mechanical heart.
I'm still going to be like up against the porthole going, "Oh, you're so beautiful. If only you would let us perform for you and you would share your beauty with us." My curiosity is also kind of getting the best of me during this conversation. I say, our music isn't just timeless, but we have modernized it. Look, I'm an android. It's a horrible argument, but I got a 6. So unless it rolls a 6, I shall be successful. Somewhat successful on turn number 2. Let's see how.
Could be anywhere from 10 to.
Yeah, it's not the best, but we still have time.
What's that number?
3. So I've moved us 30% farther up.
So we are 40% along the way.
We are.
To convince this creature.
Yes. It's beginning to say, well, I just simply don't like your music, is all.
But I do like androids.
Oh, thank you. I'm quite the sexy Gaga android. So yes, I appreciate being liked.
Well, I tell you what. May I ask your name? And then it tells us that the name is. Well, very well. What if we write a song for you, and maybe that we would be able to show that the world is beautiful in your own way, and we could make a song for you.
Oh, brilliant, Gaga. Brilliant.
Surely then you would be able to understand that our music is not just rehashes of what we have been performing for over 1,000 years. We keep it fresh. We bring in the trials and tribulations of sheer personifications of energy, such as you.
All right, roll your D8. Let's see how. Okay. If you are.
I'm going to roll my D8, and my D8 will be
a 3.
5.
Yes, excellent. So that actually becomes a 7 because you have that.
So now I must succeed. So there's no point in rolling the D6.
I'll just roll it for giggles, and let's roll how much. Oh my gosh! You always come through in the clutch, don't you? 90%.
Well, it was a strong argument, and the creature is just bowled over thinking, wow, you would do that for me? You would make people understand that it's not just about carbon-based life forms, but also sheer amalgamations of energy that somehow clump together. Thank you so much for bringing our story to the masses, Lady
look,
Gaga.
it now has a little smile on its little face. Like it looked angry before, but now it looks like it's smiling. Oh, goodness. That's awesome. So with one turn left, I could say, oh, let's I'm going to stay on this card, but I feel like we're ready to move on with our day. So in the game, out of character in the game, I now flip over the 2 cards that we just played, and we'll play back down through them to play the other side to finish out our day.
So day 1 is always 4 cards, and
yes. Well, I say yes. So the way it is set up right now, day 1 you start with 2 cards and you play the front and back. So you've played 4 cards. Day 2 has 3, which you play front and back, and then day 3 has 4. You play through the fronts, and then you take these 2 end cards over here and shuffle them in with the flipped side and begin to play back through. And when you hit the end card, that you play the end of the game. It's stretching time. Yeah.
It is stretching time. Stretching time. Stretch my shoulders side to side, standing up and twisting round. Because in the past I have found that if you spend too long upon your seat, then that's not great. So sometimes get up on your feet for stretchy time. So even if you're watching, maybe you want to do stretchy time. It's up to you. And Kate says, normalize non-biological sentient mass performers.
Oh wait, I'm not Kiss. I'm Gaga. I don't know what Gaga does. Gaga doesn't do this.
Okay. So
all right, so here we are in a new space.
Explain what this means. And I see it's I was going to look at what those icons meant.
Yes. So the icons in the events are slightly different than what you can do as a person, right? Because we're talking about events versus what's on the character sheet. So the character abilities line up with the types of events, but in this case, we have the choices of communication again, that's the top one, or a mechanical problem, or radiation. So here's where you find out whether the friends you're playing with are nice or horrible. I'm more toward the horrible side of that equation. Okay. Because I'm always like, oh, it's a chance for some drama. So here's what I think happened. We are having this lovely conversation with and telling it that you're going to write it a song in the style of the 3000s. It will be fresh and new, and it's so excited. It gets so enthusiastic that smile turns into a huge rush of energy, and lights and alarms begin to go off all over the ship, and a automated robotic voice, which is how the ship talks to us, begins to say, radiation wave imminent, radiation wave imminent. We're about to be overwhelmed by this wave of radiation coming from this very happy creature who I don't think meant us any harm. But now we, who are not nuclear scientists at all, are going to have to deal with a radiation problem. So yes, that's that's what is happening now. And I think simply because I have arms, fingers, legs, I'm going to go ahead and attempt the first shot at helping the ship get out of the path or do something, put up the shields, whatever we can do to try to stop the radiation. So I will, I've rolled a 6, and I have a -2. So my 6 automatically becomes a 4. So I could still be successful. I am not. I have absolutely failed. Hello, Panic.
Hello, Panic. I hope you're generally well. We are trying to bring Lady Gaga to people in the year 3079.
Yeah, so it's so sweet that,
we're being hit with
Panic is calling us humans when we're a brain in a jar and an android. I mean,
yeah. For the record, this is what my character looks like. That's the skull of Lady Gaga and the lips of Lady Gaga and the neck of Lady Gaga, but with spider legs in a jar.
Oh, thank you. Yes, humans. Yes, and I am the android Lady Gaga. My name is Ra. I get
I thought it was Ra.
Yeah, Ra. Yeah, so I am her android sexy body that dances and pretends to sing, but it's really Lady Gaga's skull and lips that are singing.
And a trachea.
Yes, and her, yes, we've got to have that because that's where the vocal cords are. Very important. All right, so
we have been engulfed with nuclear energy.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yes. So I mean, you could try to help me. You could roll a d6 to try to help me.
Why wouldn't I?
Well, yeah. I mean, you should. The problem is you're going to have to roll a 1 in order to help me. You're literally going to have to roll a 1. So help works kind of in the opposite direction from your rating. So if we're doing something communicative, you want to roll over your number. Your number is 2. So anything over 2, you're always going to help me when we're trying to communicate, when it's a leadership or any of those, that side of the character sheet. But when it's technical, you have to roll below your number. And your number is 2, so you have to roll a 1. Now, if you don't, it doesn't hurt me at all. If you do, I can re-roll my D8. I can re-roll the either the D8 in this case or the So I mean, you could try to roll a D6 and try to get a 1. If you think that there's something you can do to help me find the correct button to push, maybe to get the shields to come down or something.
Okay, and what happens if I fail mechanically?
Nothing happens. If you're just trying to help me on my turn right now, nothing happens if you fail.
So mechanically, there's no reason for me to not try.
Yeah. It's great to help me. If you could try to help me out, you might as well roll a d6 and see if you can get a 1 just on the off chance.
2. Oh.
Okay. So 2 isn't the worst. 2 just means that let's see. Oh, I have actually forgotten my own rules. Actually, no, 2 just no, it just doesn't mean anything. You haven't helped me or hurt me. You haven't helped or hurt yourself. It's just your rating.
So basically it was a 1 or bust.
Yeah. So
what I did is I wandered over and I scampered over saying, surely it's one of these things. Surely it's one of these buttons. Surely it's, and my spider legs moving around. But I mean, at least I didn't distract you, but I didn't manage to point you towards any good buttons either.
Yeah. So I'm rolling the percentage, but it doesn't mean anything, right? Because we're already starting at 0%. We can't do worse than 0. We can't do greater than 100. So it's kind of meaningless. But if I had succeeded, I would have succeeded. I would have gotten 80%. Yeah, I am flailing around, completely unsuccessful. This radiation wave is getting closer and closer, and I'm just hitting buttons in a panic. This is not my field. Gaga, you must try to do something. I can't find the shield button. So now I'm passing the turn to you. Oh, did I? Sorry. Okay, we still have 4 turns. So that was the first of 4 turns.
Okay. Well, Lady Gaga, not being a great nuclear scientist, tries to ask the creature, "Hey, what's going on, darling creature? We must be alive in order to write this song for you. And please tell us the information of how to avoid being killed by your exuberance." And then the creature looks. I'm not sure if it's saying anything. I'm not sure if it understands us at this point.
I don't think it does.
I'm going to wait. So I didn't mean
roll
to
your
do
D8.
that.
Yep. Oops. Yep.
So I take that off. Oh, there we go. Now D8.
There we go.
A 4.
All right. Which, because you also
have a minus 2.
Have a minus 2 in radiation, you get a 2. So I'll roll. Oh, please be a 1 or a 2. Please. Oh, it's a 5. Okay. I am panicking. I am absolutely panicking, but I am going to run up and say
and pray to the creature.
Yes. I'm also saying, "Oh, please, you were so excited. If you kill us, we won't ever be able to do this wonderful thing. Do you know where our shield button is?" I'm gonna roll the D6 and hope for a 1. Oh, I rolled a 2 as well. So yes.
Nothing happens. So we have achieved absolutely nothing.
We have achieved nothing. We are still this radiation wave is still headed toward us. We're still in grave danger.
Kate suggests that radiation might only make Robo and Spider Gaga stronger.
Well, that's possible. That's possible. Yes. Who knows? What's going to happen here? We still have 2 turns to turn this around.
Just to be clear, this is Space Beyond, which you can theme around anything you want. It doesn't have to be about Lady Gaga. It's really about sci-fi.
Yeah. It's just
let's see if you can overcome.
Yes. All right. I'm going to try again. I'm going to get a hold of myself and I'm going to
find that button.
Take a hold of your jar and I'm going to say, "Get a hold of yourself, Spider Gaga. We will find this shield button and we will survive."
Yes. Exactly. Roma.
All right, I rolled a 4. I still have a minus 2 in nuclear science, which gives me a 2. But fingers crossed. I'm like, "Oh, world, you can't continue to be against us when we are the great entertainers of all time, the greatest entertainers of all time. Please help me, Gaga. Please lend me your voice and your strength."
I will sing for you right now.
Find
that button. We've got to find that button.
Thank you.
We find that button now. Find
Roll a
that
D6.
button. Find that
Roll
button.
Roll a D6. Get a 1. Oh,
yay!
Oh my gosh. Oh, all right. I get another chance. Oh, your beautiful singing has calmed my android spirit. And so I will roll my D8 again. Oh, all right. I don't have to take the lower number, but it doesn't matter because I'm still unsuccessful. Man, we're in deep doo-doo here. We are, oh my gosh. We just, every time we've had an opportunity to just push the dang shielding button.
The power of Gaga compels you.
Yes, Gaga. There's one chance left. There's one chance left to succeed.
So we have a radiation surfboard for the wave.
Well, I feel like our spaceship will surf or something. Something will happen to it.
Well, I guess there's always the chance that we roll 10 out of 10 and then we get 100%, right? That we manage to break. So I like that because it's always worth going, and so there's always a chance.
There's always a chance if you can beat this environmental challenge with this like -2, because like I said, I'm like, let's have some drama. So all right, Gaga, one last chance. I know you can do it.
Okay, I look around and inspiration strikes. I say, let us, if we can't shield ourselves, we must go around the wave, for it seems to be coming out all in one direction. Let's dodge and dive and whoops, take them off and roll a 4, which is -2, makes 2.
All right. Well, I'm going to go over and push a button that I do know from my general technology, and it pops out like a handle wheel that will perhaps allow me to turn the ship. It doesn't always work. There's a lot of radiation out there, but I am going to try to help you here. So first of all, oh no, you've already not succeeded, but I'm gonna roll the d6 to see if I can. It's working. It's working. A little bit. I'm getting a little bit of resistance, but you can re-roll your d8 to see if we could actually beat that 3. All you need is a 5 or higher. Oh, we have failed. And
I tried to take it, but between my stubby little legs without any opposable thumbs or anything to control things, I can't quite move the joystick, and I can't, and you don't do it in time, so we're just hit by the sheer impact of the radioactive wave.
Yes. Now, I will tell you, because it was my card and I'm the storyteller, I'm the one who takes the failure. So I now have 1 success and 1 failure on my character sheet. But they're independent. So out of character, I will say they are independent of each other. I could get 3 successes and get to move up to a D10, and then later get the 3rd failure and move back down to a D8. It's whichever one comes first, and they work independently of each other. So at the moment they're neck and neck, but I still get to roll the D8.
So is it the person who finished the thing? So should I have 2 successes at this point?
You should have a success. So this was the 3rd card. So I got a success on the 1st card. You got a success on the 2nd card. This was the 3rd one. I got a failure.
So it's the person who flips the card who gets a success or failure.
Yes. So now this card is finished for the day, and here's our final card for the day.
Oh my gosh!
Before we get there, let me bring this back up, and I'll just narrate our failure. So you know, I was on the little turny wheel of the spaceship, and you're on a joystick, and we managed to like turn the underside of the ship toward this radiation wave, and it blasted us away from the planet and off into space. And so here you go with your card where we have been blasted away from where we were supposed to be performing.
We find that we're a million miles away, literally. Even with the modern technology that we have, it's still going to take us days to get back. Thankfully. And when we get back there, is the creature going to let us back in? Will I have to compose a song, not knowing anything more about the creature? Is the creature just going to apologize and agree to let us do a song after the concert for it? Who knows?
Who knows?
But I do feel like a little bit more of my flesh is starting to come off. And it's looking a bit more like the water's looking not too great.
Oh, don't die, Gaga. Oh, looks really bad. Oh, Gaga, don't die. I say with my fingers crossed behind my back.
What's there is a beam of light shooting off into the distance. Potentially, this may be a way to help us navigate in the direction of the stars.
That's true.
No longer.
So,
although, to be fair, if Gaga has no facial expressions, that's a pretty good poker face.
Yeah. That's true. So this card you see now has a new item, which is the debris or obstacles, which is if we had navigational skills.
Okay,
that would be
that's perfect.
We're both 0 at nav. Yeah, I mean that makes.
So this is radiation and navigation.
Yep.
Well, we need to follow the light. Yes. Because I don't know why, but that planet's over there with the brightly lit metaphysical being is just brightening up the entire planet, the non-biological sentient mass. And so let us try to navigate there.
That is an excellent suggestion. Oh, wait, I had a reason why I was going to... Oh, yes, I need to
ask you to plug the wire directly into the little port. So, yeah, you roll the d4 to see how many turns we have.
One turn.
Well, I ask you to plug in my case. And I roll my d8. And I'm trying my best but maybe the radiation has taken its toll on me. Maybe I'm just not as good as I normally am. And for whatever reason, I'm just struggling to maneuver this spacecraft in the direction that we want.
Yep. Yes. And I mean, it is kind of difficult. But I'm here, and I am going to try to help you. I mean, we hate the dice right now. Like it's a love-hate relationship, but now we're on the hate side of the relationship. Oh, all right. Here we go. I can do this. I can do this. Now, because it's a technological challenge, right? I still have to roll a 1 to be able to help you. So, B1. Oh, it's not. I don't help you at all. And it doesn't really matter. But oh my gosh. If it had been successful, it would have been 100% successful. Unfortunately, it is a complete disaster. So, but what do you think happens?
We didn't make it. We flew the wrong way, and now we don't know where we are. We're just floating round a star in the wrong direction.
Oh, yes, I feel that. We're just floating. We really are. We're just floating out here, aren't we?
There's nothing.
Have we lost our gravity?
I didn't manage to move anywhere. I don't know what's going on, but we can't do anything. That's the end of the day.
That is the end of the day.
And so I need to cross off a failure.
Yes.
We've had 1 success and 1 failure each.
Yes, we have. And here we float in space.
At the
end of... No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, to recap, so we started off, we got to the planet okay, but then there was this metaphysical being that we managed to persuade to let us be there, but then there was a radiation blast that shot us far away, and I was damaged, and then I just couldn't. Lady Gaga could just not control it quite well enough.
Yeah.
So now we're floating, and
Yeah.
now we need to see what tomorrow brings, because
Yeah.
even though our robots, apparently we do still separate our things into days. So maybe we sleep or.
Well, I feel as though I do need a recharge cycle. And I will tell you, there is a mechanic in the game where at the end of the day, the next player, who would be me in this scenario, would do a recap. But you just did a beautiful recap, and then sets a goal for day 2. And if we reach that goal, I will get to mark a success. And if we don't reach that goal before the end of day 2, I mark a failure. So I'm going to say, I'm going to plug you into your recharging station. I'm going to hope that our life support for you lasts. And I'm going to plug myself into my recharging station. And right before I perform my shutdown mode, I'm going to say, tomorrow, we need to find someone to help us. So I'm going to be specifically looking for a person or an android or some sort of super intelligent AI out here in the darkness of space as we float along to help us. So that's my goal.
So our ship just does not seem to be responding to us.
No. We need help.
Okay, so that is, I guess, the end of that chapter of the game. And just for anyone watching or anyone after the fact, we are going to continue in 4 weeks' time, and then we're going to conclude in 6 weeks' time. And so, yeah, it's been a long bit, but yeah, I've got a couple of questions. So, firstly, how does the ship come into it? So we've got the ship name, and the ship had the stats of the shield percentage. Is that just if it gets attacked, or?
Yes. So far we have not had battle contact. So contact is one of the icons that we can come in contact with, and it looks like a target. And so that can just be like first contact with an alien species, or if you're feeling spicy, it can be we're being attacked by other humans, we're being attacked by a robotic ship or a robot on a planet. And then battle is a little bit different. Battle has its own set of rules, and unless we go into battle, I don't think there's any reason to trot this out. They're just slightly different. The main thing is the ship can be damaged in such a way that if you encounter a portal between dimensions or between universes or galaxies or whatever, you don't have any more control of your ship, and you're just going to fall through these portals, and then you're somewhere else entirely. Also, if you are damaged, if the ship is damaged in battle, there are certain things you can't do until you find mechanical help. And so sometimes we limp along waiting for a card that has a mechanical symbol on it to be able to go, oh, at last we can fix the ship. So yeah, that's what the ship's percentages are for.
I mean, so it's an interesting one, because I like to kind of finish off with a bit of chat about what I thought of the game and what the other person thought of the game. And obviously you're incredibly biased, having designed the thing. And anyone else who wants to say anything, obviously with games like this, with story games, it's so idiosyncratic. It becomes, I mean, with board games in general, it's a lot more about the people who are watching it and playing it than if you're watching a TV show, for example. That's a lot more, it's a bit less volatile depending on who's watching it. They're going to have the same experience. Whereas, as an extreme example, if I play Diplomacy, that's going to vary massively depending on if I'm playing with people who never lie to me. That's not even diplomacy, some would argue, versus people who are backstabbing. And like, you know, there's a lot of human nature in that game. But then games where you're bringing in your own content take it to an extra dimension. I find it's interesting that every game, it needs to kind of have, every story game needs to have that balance between offering things to go off of and still offering you enough openness to be able to come up with new stuff next time around.
Yeah.
And in the case of something like D&D, coming up with new stuff might actually be that you go for a pre-written adventure or you write a whole new thing, and it can be incredibly challenging. Something like Fiasco, where you've got the lookup tables, and that's a really nice way to say, okay, we'll have one of that, and it's all the combinatronics, essentially, how these new things interact. I think that, thinking of Fable, it's just like, okay, AP, it's like just what comes up in your head. It's like angry penguins, BS, well, that's just my initials, but NZ would be like nice zebras. And now, because I've started talking about angry penguins, now I'm already talking about animals. I think that here, you know, it's very much, this is going to be a sci-fi thing. And obviously everything, I do feel like it's not, doesn't feel like a game for that does lots of hand-holding. Like, for sure, I'm not sure whether that's a good or a bad thing, but everything's like a good game for someone. And I feel like here, it could be, it is challenging. I mean, I definitely felt like I had to bring a lot of myself to it, if you know what I mean. And it was fun. It was engaging. Fundamentally, the things that you provide, I could talk about the story, but that's not really what the game is. The game is the art on the cards. The game is these rules, the dice rolling. And I do like the fact that, okay, with this number, if it's high, then rolling above it is going to be hard, rolling below it's going to be easy. If it's low, then vice versa. And that's quite a nice thing. I did find it a little bit weird, I have to admit, the whole, okay, for mechanical, technical, you roll underneath it. It should probably be on the sheets, just marked out a little bit more. I worried that with the successes and failures, we start off as a D8, and then it's going to go up, then down, then up, and up. It doesn't feel like it's really going to change much at the end. And so I'm like, just...
It does though. You will be surprised. If you drop to a D6, day 2 now is going to be rolling a D8, and it's going to be super challenging to get successes, to get back to that D8 to be rolling at least equal to the die.
At which point, isn't it kind of the opposite of how you want? Because then it becomes like more and more almost impossible to beat the game.
Yes, but see, this is the beauty of RPGs is, are you trying to beat the game or are you just trying to play the game? Like, there's not, it's not, a win scenario is different in an RPG, I think, than that, especially a really story-heavy RPG like this one. Like, to me, the win scenario is, was the story compelling and did you have fun? Even if your characters failed. So character failure is just part of the storytelling. It's not a judgment, good or bad, about the game itself.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it is weird because, you know, something like Fiasco or even, what's that one with the Dread, where you are given the permission that if you do want to have the dramatic failure where you crash the Jenga tower and then you get to narrate your own death. So maybe it's a personal failure for your character, but still it's some sort of heroic failure, if you know what I mean.
Right.
And that's definitely an interesting one. I mean, for me, I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to playing it next time. Kate says, I'd like to see more RPG systems that really embrace failure.
Yeah.
And also before that saying, I really enjoyed watching this gameplay out. Thank you. That's very kind, and thank you for watching. Panic, when I was talking about diplomacy, says, try not to play games with people that don't like you.
Yeah, right.
But, I mean, I don't know, when you're playing something like diplomacy, there is something to be said for playing with people who, you know, aren't your friends, so you don't have to worry about not being friends afterwards. RPGs for Panic is just trying to crack everyone up, make everyone laugh, and troll the DM. Yeah.
So Panic, in this case, nobody is a DM or a GM. It's a GM-less game. You're like the storyteller for the card that you're playing, but like, as you could see, like everybody got to be a part of telling that story. Even if I had drawn the card, if it was Bez's turn, Bez got to tell that part of the story and narrate what was happening. And I did that on purpose because I wanted it to be something that everyone could just like join in and have fun with.
I think there is a lovely thing about DM-less games. And yeah, I think that this game, ultimately, the inspiration, the amount of coddling, you want something with the space scenes, you do want little bits of different things, you do want pictures that can be interpreted different ways, and thankfully, once you delve into the realms of sci-fi and the fantastical, you can do that, because you can have some little robots there, but then ignore them, or have like this big, I mean, it looks like it was part of a galaxy or something, but then you can say, oh, this is a sentient creature or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like shared storytelling as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing. And so, yes, I think that let's wrap up, unless anybody else has anything left to say. I just want to say, firstly, thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Massive thank you, Sarah, for being part of this. It's always lovely to have you. And congratulations on your new job.
Yeah, thanks.
If you want to check me out, I am Stuff by Bez everywhere. You know, Twitter, Instagram, and also if you want to find out when I'm next streaming, I am stuffbybez.com/streams. For Americans, my daily streams are probably a bit too early, because 10 a.m. UK time, I think, is currently 6 a.m. in New York. So it's a bit later than it normally is, because hours went back for us already, but not for you. But then it's still a bit
next week. Yeah, we've got one week.
Still earlier than I would personally be getting up for. I'm not expecting Americans to get up for that. I will be back streaming next week at 3 p.m. UK time, which I believe will be 1 hour earlier. So that will be 10 a.m. New York. And then week off. Anyway, check that out. But yes, Sarah, where do you like to be found?
I have two main places. My website is biggirlgames.us, and of course my Twitter, biggirlgames1. I am also starting a Twitch. Not Twitch. I'm sorry, I've got Twitch, but I don't do much with it. TikTok. I'm starting a TikTok. Ooh. I'm just also at Big Girl Games on TikTok, and I'm going to have some fun content on there. It's going to be partially a fictional character from a book I'm writing, and partially some kind of ongoing game design stuff as I have time to create content. So I will be announcing it on Twitter soon. So hopefully we'll get started with that shortly.
And yes, if anyone has anything that would like to share, anything that you're excited about, I'm just going to remind everyone that I've started an LDEC game of the month, and the first LDEC game of the month is going to be the first ever game, which is Wibble. And so that is the game that started the deck, and all that it really means for me is that I use it as a bit of housekeeping to make sure, are there pictures on Board Game Geek? Is there a rule sheet that I'm happy with? Play it a few more times, maybe try out a crazy variant if I want, make sure it all works, and there's a video kind of video tutorial for those people who prefer that, and be around to answer questions, see, is there some better way that I could present the game? But also for everyone else, what I'm basically saying is that this is a game for the L deck that I think is really good, and it is a speed-based game. It's not, sadly, something you can play online. Next month and January's will be things that you can play online, so watch out for those. But yeah, with this one, if you have any questions about it, if you like word games, if you like speed games, then do give Wibble a go, because I think there's only like 26 ratings or something like that on BGG. And if you have already played it, then obviously feel free to rate it. But I will be back. For now, there is almost nothing to say except yeah, we'll do some stretching just after we finish. We might as well actually, shall we see if there's anyone on Twitch to do a quick raid to?
Yeah.
There's CGE. Oh, there's DJ Parson doing Through the Ages. Oh, there's Board Gaming Mama. Ah, I've not seen Board Gaming Mama up. Okay, I'm going to...
Because we're earlier. Yay!
So let me raid Board Gaming Mama, who is doing some unpacking. So that is basically it. Exclamation mark raid. Please do copy paste the raid message if you fancy. And for now, the only thing left to say is lots of love. I'm glad you like her stream, Panic. And let's all go out and check it together.
Yeah.
For now, bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye, 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 bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time. Go. Bye bye, Flo. Bye bye, Panic. And now I press the thing. And now, by popular request, we're going to stare at each other for a bit.
How close can I get to my camera?
Bye, Selena. I hope you have a wonderful day. And yes. Bye.